Negative earnings had already been factored in, and what we saw was a reversal, and all these stocks started to surge to the upside. Most notably, IBM's trading, as that's the biggest component in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So that stock again is trading sizably up about $5. That's going to be a big key to the Dow today. You're going to see the Dow doing pretty well, and that's the reason behind it. All right, so that's number one. Other than that, we just see the market gapping up again here, which is exactly playing into what we want. We want to see this market up again. I'd like to even see a bigger gain today. I do think there are some things coming into resistance, though, the USO being one of them. If you take a look at the daily USO chart, the gap up today is going to take you right into this gap fill. To me, that is the beginnings of a pretty important resistance level on the market. So again, something we need to start to watch. I'm not sure if I'm ready to pull the trigger on a short just yet on oil, but it's getting close as a swing trade. All right. You can see the markets here. You have a trend line we held yesterday here on the upside. We're going to be gapping up above, really just above yesterday's high or just into yesterday's high. And again, it's not a huge gap up, but a solid gap considering we've had 2 straight days already of gains going into today. Stocks on watch today. Rosetta Genomics will be on watch for me. That stock continues to be a runner of epic proportions if it gets the right kind of catalyst. There was some preliminary news on another company out there that's related, which is pushing it up a little pre-market. I don't know if it'll make a big run today, but it's always possible. I mentioned this one yesterday. What else? ROVI, which got hammered yesterday. A little bit of news this morning, positive news about a Panasonic deal. It might bounce it a little bit. I don't know necessarily how much upside it has. I gave out the level on the downside, which was around the 895 level. All right? So that's what we're seeing there, and we'll continue to kind of watch and see what the market has in store for us. We are opening now. Spiders again gapping just above the double or the high from yesterday. Initially, we'll watch and see if anything pulls back here. I want to take a quick look at Apple. Apple trading up about $4.60. Apple was weak yesterday, even with a nice update, so that's just something we have to pay attention to. It did catch my attention how weak it was, as well as JPM, which is down. Make that up 6 cents on JPM, but Goldman Sachs is down again. And as long as you're seeing financials and Apple not participating, you kind of get the sense that these moves to the upside are limited. It's not going to be too much longer where they're continuing to hold steady. Okay? So we'll continue to look at that and see how that plays out here. Just kind of going through the charts, seeing what else is making a move. Exxon is down 15 cents on the day. Let's just bring up JPM's intraday chart and see what we have there. Yeah, JP Morgan, a little bit of a gap up. It's holding just above triple moving average support. So, I mean, that's just something to keep an eye on here. Right now, it doesn't tell me that it's a buy, though, by any stretch, as the markets, again, kind of open very quietly just on yesterday's high level. You could make a case that there's a minor resistance if we close below their minor resistance in that range. Yep, Jeff mentioning JCPenney, guys. And again, we talked about JCPenney as a swing trade yesterday, and it's just a fantastic move. I mean, that's just the move that you just dream about getting. Beautiful move there. So nice job for those of you that picked up some JCPenney yesterday. Very, very nice to see. Josh mentioning Walmart's down a little bit here on the day. WMT, let's take a look. Yeah, nice little sell-off. Now the question is, can it hold it? I mean, that's going to be the big key there. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Yeah, if you're in JCP, which again is a swing trade long, what you're going to look for on as a target, I would say first target, interestingly enough, you're actually hitting resistance here, but as a swing trade, you can hold it for longer than this because the stock is so beaten down. It should actually have some more momentum. I would say look for the 21.25 level. 21.25 would be the level you're looking for. But you are at short-term resistance. See this little pivot low right here? That's a good level right there, short-term. And you can see it's pulling back off of that level perfectly. All right. Scanning through, let's take a look at a couple other stocks. We have Apple still up about 4.5. Google reports earnings today, I believe, after the close, so that's going to be very important for the market. It's at least the tech sector. Google will have resistance today right here on the charts at 592. So 592 is resistance on Google. Spider's beginning to inch up, and again, we're still holding above the high from yesterday. So far, that's a positive for the markets. I will look to short and scalp short the markets. Let's just take a look at the levels here. Yeah, I think for me, my first scalp short will come in around the 138.50 level. There's not a lot in between here and there before we get some major resistance. There's a gap window right around 138.50 to 60 that should be a very significant level on the SPY. All right, so that'll be what I'm looking for there as we continue to trade these charts. Nice pop on BVSN, guys. I gave out this one yesterday as a runner along with Rosetta Genomics. Sweet. All right, so some good money there. BVSN is up another 50 cents. I gave this out at around the $10.30 level. It's now over 11, almost up $1 from yesterday's mention. So nice move there. Rosetta Genomics trading up about 23 cents. Nothing doing there just yet. Very light volume on that one. Scanning through, biotech continues. Small cap biotech continues to be pretty hot. Goldman still remains down about 40 cents. Let me just take a look at Goldman. Yeah, you know, Goldman's chart does not look horrible to me. You know, it had that gap up and reversal on earnings, and now it's kind of floated down, but it's holding the 50 MA here and the 20 MA. You know, as long as it really doesn't close below the 20 MA, it's not a bad chart. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. So let me scan through, see what else we have on the watch list. PBR had a good chart, guys. PBR. Notice the consolidation on the daily chart here. It's a little bit of a gap up this morning, but this is a nice chart here. Let me look at Facebook. Yeah, Facebook again had a great move yesterday and a reversal the day before. It looks like it needs a pause today, though. Looks like it's pausing today. Again, let's take a look at a couple other key stocks out there that are moving. We have Exxon and Chevron down slightly. Apple still up 4.5. Really no movement on Apple yet. Intel had a monster move yesterday off of earnings. Looks like it ran out of steam, though. Notice how it pierces 1, 2, 3 moving averages. That's really where you start to see problems for a stock, because it's just, imagine 3 walls, and as you run against and hammer at the wall, you might get through the first wall. You might even get through the second wall, but by the third wall, you're exhausted. And that's a good example right here of that. You know, 3 kind of resistance areas. A stock is just it's very tough for a stock to push right through. Now if it rests here for a few days, you could be seeing that down the line. Spiders again pushing up. Beautiful, guys. Even number of 138 Pierce should be a minor resistance area, just a minor one. ROVY, nice bounce. ROVI, excuse me, nice bounce up 45 cents there. Good little bounce on that stock. Almost up 50 cents now. Great little bounce. They did have some Panasonic news. They signed a DivX deal with Panasonic today, and I think that's probably why it's getting a decent bounce, because it was oversold yesterday. Brian mentioning Salesforce, CRM, same general chart. Yeah. This one you can see pushing through a little bit, but nonetheless, yep. Went through 1, 2, and then up to the third one yesterday and pulled back. Now it's trying. We'll see where it ends up today. Goldman remains down 8 cents on the day, getting a little bit of a bounce here. Still weak, though. I don't like the intraday chart on Goldman. You know, you did hit support and bounce here, but you're still below 3 moving averages, 1, 2, 3. Makes it a little bit of a weak showing. Continuing to kind of scan through here. Hewlett-Packard down 5 cents. Hewlett-Packard's been getting bashed in the media quite a bit. Let me just take a look at that daily chart. When the media bashes, I kind of start to like it. It looks like it had a decent bounce yesterday off a little bottoming tail the day before. Yeah, this is something to watch, actually. HBQ is definitely something to watch. If we got a nice bull flag here, I'd consider it. I would consider it. Interesting. Scanning through Yoku. Nice move on Chinese stock Yoku. Yeah, it's 2 days in a row after an ugly sell-off 2 days in a row that Yoku is getting a bounce. Let me look at Zynga. Yeah, Zynga's cheap down here, but it just doesn't, without Facebook really up another $1 or so, I don't favor it. If Facebook starts to run, then I do start to favor Zynga as a play, but Facebook right now only up 17 cents, so there's not much there. Scanning through, let's see what else we have here. Amazon. Amazon, nice move on Amazon, guys. Now, this is important on Amazon, guys, because you had a bearish pattern here, and if it closes up here, this is a failure of that bearish pattern, which means you have no good directional indicators. In fact, you could actually go higher on it. I wouldn't be a buyer, obviously, up $5. It's called chasing, but you definitely wouldn't be looking to short this for sure. AXP, American Express, had earnings last night. Stock is down $1.40. Qualcomm had earnings last night, up $2.50 today. eBay earnings, wow, eBay, what a move. That's even off the highs. eBay up $3.55. Monster move there. Whew. ROVI, what a bounce. Look at this thing continuing to bounce up off that news. If you look at the daily chart, it's not surprising that it's getting some sort of bounce. I mean, even from the highs of this year, the stock was trading at around the 35, 36 level. And in a matter of just a few months, it went to $10. So this is just a dead cat bounce, technical bounce. A little bit of news this morning, as I mentioned, giving it a little bit of a juice. Nothing that you'd hop on board. The level I gave out in the research center, folks. So if you're a research center member, you'll know exactly where the long is on ROVI. Let's take a look at the USO today. USO remains right there at that gap fill area. Again, this is a sweet level. You actually could make a case that it could go up here as well, but I think right in this area you start to really look for resistance on the USO. You also have a nice move up here. You can see multiple up candles in a row on the USO. Remember, oil was just $77 not too long ago, and now it's over 90. So that's a technical bounce. The only thing that makes me a little nervous about shorting oil is the fact that the Iranian situation is getting a little bit more, hectic there, a little bit hot. There's a bombing in Bulgaria and of Israeli passengers on a bus, and all fingers are pointing now to Iran, and you just never know if it could escalate. And that's the only thing that makes you a little conservative on shorting the USO or oil itself. All right, let's see what else we have here. Bank of America up 8 cents, Wells Fargo up 16 cents. First Solar getting a nice little bounce here today. Nice little bounce on FSLR. Yeah, Netflix getting a little bit of a bounce today as well. Let me just take a look at the Netflix chart. Yeah, I'm still not a huge fan of that chart. I mean, it's a decent consolidation. At least you see these were lines we drew a couple days ago, and we were showing the difference between risk to reward. So you had this much downside to this much upside, and it really didn't make sense, right? Now you have the 20 a lot closer, so at least it's a little bit better. So your downside risk is there as opposed to your upside, and you can see the upside is now slightly taken over the downside risk. That's a beautiful analysis tool too, guys. Really, really important to understand that aspect of what we do here in terms of support resistance and analyzing risk to reward, loss to gain. So it's getting a little bit more in your favor now on the Netflix. I still would like to see that 20 a little closer, but a little better at least. All right, so again, just continuing to scan through here. I'm trying to see if there's any small caps moving this morning, but nothing that is catching my eye directly. EDU, which was just getting smoked yesterday, getting a nice bounce today. What a bounce. That's a scary one just because you never know, again, with Chinese stocks, how it's all going to play out. But what a bounce on EDU. JPM remains up 8 cents. Goldman's down 30 cents. Q's having a good bounce today. Let's take a look at the VXX. Yeah, the VXX is only down 13 cents. Interesting. I'd really like to see that come down a little bit more. Give me a good entry possibly on that VXX. So again, guys, market's inching up. Just let this market continue to float up to that 138 level. ROVI continues to bounce nicely there. MasterCard's down a couple bucks on the day. Jumps to some intraday charts here. Research in Motion's getting a small bounce, right to the 200, small pullback. Yeah, JCPenney's just running like crazy. That's a beautiful move, right up into the first resistance level. You actually got to pull back off of it. Now it's trying to break, but it still has some resistance right up here. But that's a great move on JCPenney, guys. Congrats to any of you guys who picked that up yesterday, or even off the pretty previous few days. Yesterday's reversal, I remember talking about it on the intraday stock chat with you guys yesterday afternoon. The fact that it had this 3-bar surge and then did 100% retrace. Usually 100% retrace is very bearish. Anytime a stock gives up 100%, it's usually a negative. But the fact is the stock still fought back and closed above all 3 moving averages. Technically speaking, you have to be impressed with that. And that's why we talked about it yesterday as a possible mover to the upside, because of its ability to fight back off 100% retrace. So good job. A lot of you guys picked that up. Well done. Shirag saying, do you like a rig as a scalp short around the 48.80 level? Let's take a look. Rig is a scalp short. Let's see what we have. Yeah, a little pivot top here around 48.90. Yeah, you should get a small pullback off of that if it gets there. You know, it got to 48.60, so it makes it a little tricky, but Facebook is now negative, guys. Heads up on that one. Roger saying, thanks for JCP, bought a bunch of calls up 200% and climbing. Beautiful. There you go. Not a shabby gain.